Welcome, everyone, to Hanging Out with Howie on Monday nights. My special guest tonight is the man from Temecula, Jay Brannan. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, Howie. How are you?
I am doing well.
Good.
I'm doing well. I'm a little fatigued, but we're going to get into that.
As am I. I am a little on the fatigue side as well.
Now, you had an interesting week doing a virtual NAMM show.
I did.
Yeah. And it was, I can remember helping John out with his virtual show.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 3 computers open, 2 iPads. Now, I'm okay with one machine. And then it was like, hey, man, I need some moderators and, I need you to do these rooms. And I got to tell you, after 8 hours of bouncing in between the rooms and, making sure there's no lag, everything's working, there's no Zoom bombers, I was just sitting here drinking coffee and I was mentally fatigued.
Yeah.
Not like, we're at a show and our muscles are moving, we're here and there, and you get your second wind. Did you experience that at all?
I did. This year with virtual, believe it or not, my work week for the week of NAMM started back in December. So the very end of December, I started doing video work that was ultimately going to end up being on our virtual booth channel. So I did a 10-minute video explaining all of our new releases. So each one was a minute and a half or so. And then I did the intro outros for all the performers, as well as all the demonstrations. So I would say, hey, great job, Jazzy Jeff. Really appreciate the set. Awesome interview, Lars. For more information, and go through the tags. So that went on, even though we joke about the one take thing in the booth, when you're doing it in studios, it takes forever because it's like, hold on, we can hear a helicopter or, and things just always take too long. But I think the big thing for the week of NAMM that was totally different, in the booth, like you say, you're walking around, you're getting that second wind constantly because you're seeing people, you're interacting, it's fun. Even though you're standing for 12 hours, it doesn't matter, it's fun. But online, it was a ton of answering questions. It was a ton, because this year with virtual, they had chats. So they had actual chat and question sections for every presentation and every performance. And as a company, we had a main chat. So you could, once you were registered and you clicked on the brand, you could just randomly come in and say, hey, can I use Big Sur with the DDJ 1000? It's like, and we were kind of there to help support that. And even though, like you say, you're doing it from home, you're on your phone, you're in the car answering stuff, it does take its toll. I think I would rather work a real show than a virtual one. Because it's just constant.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's take 2020, for example, was pretty typical. So I would leave where I live and go to Anaheim to the convention center on Monday. And Monday would be partial setup. Tuesday would be set up. Wednesday would be set up, and shows would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, tear down Sunday, maybe partially Monday. And then Monday would go to meetings, and then Tuesday travel home. So I'm gone basically for 8 days. Last year, I didn't get out till Wednesday because I had a show in LA at MI, Musicians Institute. I had to do a presentation there the Tuesday after NAMM. So I was physically in hotels for 9 days and then got home Wednesday. And you realize I only live 45 to 55 miles away.
Now, for this particular NAMM show, did you have to drive to the studio every day?
I went to studio for 5 days.
Wow.
So it was up in Anaheim. So I would drive up there. The added kind of workload for this one that was different was, and you've been gracious enough to peep in, and I know you've got some fantastic Bluetooth headphones from the Pioneer DJ Happy Hour show that I'm quite honored to be the host of. We did a show on the 14th, And then we did 2 more shows on the 21st and 22nd. And the only where that gets to be a bit of work. Yep, there they are. Perfect.
There they are.
Comfortable,
They're amazing.
slick, DJ colored. 5.0 Bluetooth, yeah.
Oh, man.
You're going to love it till they make 6.0, and then you go, these things are old. Get me something new. But it was, I think that the harder part was probably the happy hour included in the show. So, get up Thursday morning and start answering questions, set up for Pioneer DJ Happy Hour, which normally is an hour. This time they wanted an hour and a half on each show. And
I noticed that.
Yeah, I write the show notes. So I write the run of show, like, 0 to 5 minutes. I introduce myself, talk about what we're going to talk about, blah, blah, blah. 5 to 10 minutes, I talk about whatever. 11 to 30 minutes, I interview Larry or I interview PJ or whatever. So I'm in my head doing it as I'm going live because I don't have it scripted.
Right. You just made bullet points. Is that it?
Yeah. It's just one page of and it's literally written 0 to 5, introduction, banter, let audience settle in. 5 to 10, mention software, talk about we just launched something. So I've more or less memorized all that, and I've got it in my head to go, this is how it's going to go. But where it can go long is if I start talking more than I was gonna or whatever. That gets wearing. I mean, it's not a hard job, but you want to do a good job. And in order to do a good job, you have to be kind of there, mentally. So I think that added on top of the show is where it got a little bit wearing this week. And then I got done Friday night, came home, and then got up early because I was honored to be asked to be part of a raid train, the Global Dance Party raid train. And so I was up. I got to bed at like 2 I was in the chill room. I think you were there. Friday night till like 2, got up at 7, and then got to bed Sunday morning at like 1:32. So that's why this morning I just kind of slept in. I was exhausted. That's why I'm drinking grape juice.
Now, I noticed that you would move from set to set, like when you did all these. And now you have a producer and a camera guy. Now, do you have an in-ear monitor where they prompt you with different things, a producer, or did you do that on your own?
I have in-ears to hear the guests, so I don't have echo or feedback, but I don't have them in there to get instructions. We're going to probably start doing that because we had an incident Friday where there was some confusion about something. And somebody tried to do something and it was like, no, we're not doing that. And it's live. So you want to kind of seem organic, but at the same time, I'm like, why is somebody else telling me what to do? So
yeah, I noticed that. And you were like, oh, we'll come back to that. You made it look easy. It's just
I appreciate
we'll come back to that.
Well, and the only way to do it without getting pissed about it was to start talking about this one guitar I wanted to see.
Yes, I remember the guitar.
Yeah, because I had a lot to say. I was like, Akira Takasaki used this. Chris Holmes, like, how many times do you get to say Akira Takasaki from Loudness? That rolls off the tongue, but you don't say it very often. So I was quite poised to say, same model as Akira Takasaki of Loudness and Chris Holmes of Wasp.
I don't think I could say that. And Akira I don't Takasaki think Lori would be able to translate that for me either. But if it was Spanish, I'd lean on her.
It's a Japanese group. Well, really quick, funny story. When I was working on a show called Heavy Metal from Hell at WBCN Radio in Boston, John knows it, for Tony Berardini, our program director, we had Loudness come in and they were starting their US tour in Boston because they just left Europe. And when they got to the airport, their manager speaks a little bit of English, but their translator didn't show up. So we picked them up from the airport, got them to the studio, and literally just finally said, we have to go on air. We'll ask questions. Just tell them to respond in Japanese. So it'd be like, what do you guys think of Boston so far? And all 4 of them would just start rattling off stuff in Japanese, be like, cool. So the first album you got, Max Norman was your producer. He'd worked with Ozzy. Was that a big influence? Oh, da, 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 da. And that went on for about 20 minutes. And not one word of it was in English. and no one to this day knows what they said at all, because we didn't have a choice. It's like, well, they're here, we're paying them to be here. They've got to talk. Well, they can't speak English. We'll just tell them to speak Japanese. So that was my memory of Akira Takasaki.
Actually, it was good though. It was refreshing to have something a little bit different than, being hammered over the head with the same, it was a nice break. That,
Well, it's like the Grundorf facade, that barn. I've probably had 10 people hit me up about that. Like, where did you find this? I'm like, they're featuring it at NAMM. Like, it was on the NAMM brands page. It was for me, it was easy to find because I just searched for facade. But it was, I live in an area with a lot of wine vineyards, wine country. So it would fit here. It would fit with the rustic barn door weddings. I wanted to sort of give people that sense of like, because in a normal NAMM, I walk around and take a ton of photographs of things I may want to do. At Expo, I do the same. At Mobile Beat, I did the same. That's a cool facade. Let me take a photo, send it to my wife, see if she likes it, or find out where I can get it or whatever. But this year that was lacking. So it was a lot more saving, different brand pages and compiling sort of, whoops, I've gone dark here. I forgot to pay the bills. There we go.
Oh, there you go. That could have been Facebook. They shut everybody off. Yeah.
Turn out the lights. It's time. The party's over, I guess, sadly.
Now, when you were doing this, do you have access to the chat? I noticed you were relying on PJ to ask, or
I do have access. It's next to me on my laptop. I just don't like looking at laptops when I'm on air.
Right.
Like, I think it's
right.
I would rather keep. I would rather look at
I'm not paying attention to Jay. I'm over here.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I watch newscasters and people that present, you can tell the really good ones because they just look directly at you versus the ones that are fumbling and, let me look this up. Like, no, you should know that. And I just think it works. What I would love is just to get them in my ear. Hey, Jay, Howie's asking if Big Sur will work with this. All right, let's go to the questions. I understand Howie'd like to check in on Big Sur and how it's working with that. Well, let me explain. I like that behind the scenes kind of flawlessness. Yeah. And it's just like the NAMM show. I mean, when that booth is done, we have a company, KMR International, and they set our booth up. And even, I'll use Expo. We did an Expo where we had and you were there a couple of years back, we had a demo room upstairs. And then downstairs at Harrah's, downstairs we had the regular booth, and it wasn't as big as normal because we moved a lot of pro audio upstairs. I had spent maybe 2 days doing all the rigging for that trussing. And what I had done is because they wanted a big light show. So because I was going to use record box lighting, I had to address everything. Then I had to determine what I wanted to do and then move things. And when I was finally done, I just put painter's tape everywhere, like on the lights and on the trussing. So when we got there, people would lift up a light and go, I have a moving head. It's number 4. Oh, number 4 is right there. Okay. But it took 2 days to do that. And I didn't think it would, but it's the cabling, zip tying cables throughout. And you want it to look good. The same thing is true with NAMM show. And we're lucky that we don't do trussing as far as the demos. We don't have to set up the trussing. That's already set for us.
Yeah, I was in your demo room there in Vegas, and I remember you giving me the heads up, like, Howie, be in here, because we're stopping at 5, and that's when we're going to do the drawing for the 10-inch powered speakers.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom. And on the way back from the bathroom, hey, can I get a selfie with you? What? Oh, okay. And I get in the room and the drawing was already good. Oh, and you told me how you would have won. There was nobody here. I had to pick another name.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times where people I've known have, like, out of nowhere grab a name and they're like outside.
Right.
And they come back to me later. Did I win? I'm like, yes and no.
Yeah. You had to be here.
You won, but you lost. I don't know how else to explain it to you. But that's the beauty of these shows. I mean, I love the prep work. I love the travel for them. Most people don't. The NAMM show is one of those shows where you have to go into it with, for me, the understanding that we have to get up at 6:30 every day because we want to have breakfast, take a shower, have breakfast, do it normal, and then head over. I'm usually in the Anaheim Convention Center about 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 8:30. Show starts at 10, and you're there till show ends at 6. Post meeting, you get out at 6:30, 6:45, swing by one of the bars on the way back to the room, get back to the room, so your day runs very long, but it's your choice. I mean, I've never complained that I was tired at NAMM because I was out till 2 or 3 in the morning and then had to be back in 5 hours. That's on us. But there's so much adrenaline in the air at that show.
There is.
And I think the same's true with Expo,
Yeah.
I get to see you, I get to see Brian, I get to see all these people. There's a lot of incentive to keep going throughout the day. And things are open late there. I mean, Anaheim, everything's done at like 1:45. There is no late night bar in California. No. It's not Vegas. It's not Atlantic City.
Well, yeah, Atlantic City, we could walk the boardwalk, anything, and there's going to be something open White House Subs is open 24/7,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of, I won't say distractions, but there's a lot of things going on. And I think in this industry in particular, I have not had an issue in 18 years with another company, staffing, booth, and anything. They literally everybody has just been awesome, and everybody. So when you get there, you're like, oh, this is great. I get to see all these people that I really like. And
I can remember getting back to your translating Japanese. I don't know how you did it, but you brought the president of Pioneer DJ USA to our chill event at the Irish Pub. And then we were all outside, and Brian was talking with the group, and the president had said something that could have been easily misinterpreted. And I know you stepped in and go, oh, no. He means he doesn't like yes men.
Right.
He wants you to tell him the truth. And Brian then jumped in and said, why don't you make good mic inputs on your controller?
Yeah. Brian's
he took it really graciously. And these are the kind of things people don't get to see unless you're there.
Yeah. I think you need that kind of transparency. I think, I certainly, and for those that don't know, I'm a contractor. I don't work for the company. I work with them. Like they hire me in. I'm an independent contractor. I'm not a salaried employee, but I still take an immense amount of pride, as does Christian, as does KMR International. A lot of us take an immense amount of pride in it, and we've known these people for a very long time. And, you want to see people succeed, but I've always been very cognizant of, at a show, you got to be prepared to take criticism as well as compliments, and I've never run from either one, and I don't think it's fair to. And if you're in a position to make change, I think you need to not only step up and do it, but you need to kind of wave that flag a little bit like, hey, I'm the guy in charge. And if something is broken that needs to be fixed and I can fix it, I'm going to. And I think those are the companies that gain the most respect, the most ground. I've known the gentleman you're referring to, Hideki. I've known him for, maybe 16 years. A super nice guy. He was over here in the US, then he went back to Japan, and now he's come back over here. And just nicest guy, but very intelligent and listens very well and does want the truth. Everybody's very quick to go, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is, you can't change anything that's awesome. Oh, it is? It's perfect? Yeah, this is totally perfect. Okay, then we don't have to deal with it.
Right.
Well, actually, no, I would like this. Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's the kind of feedback that I think companies really want. And that's part of what shows bring them. And I've had this discussion now with, looking down the road at shows with virtual shows, and it's a lot of money that doesn't get spent. And I've had to explain to a few people, no, you don't have to do shows. You also don't have to grow. And you also can perpetuate a mistake all the way through production because you weren't at a show listening to the end users who aren't on your website, who don't go to your chat room, who aren't on your forums, who aren't on your Facebook. Mm-hmm. I mean, the people I know now that in the last 6 months have quit Instagram and Facebook. It's shocking. I'm like, how do you communicate with companies? I send them an email directly. Well, what does that mean? Does it get to anybody? Like if you had a complaint, what would you do with it? Or if you had a compliment, what would you do with it? Like, well, with shows are a huge thing. People want to hear that. Yeah. You tell somebody in a booth, they have a great idea for this. They go tell their boss, it becomes reality. Everybody wins, And I think that's what's so important.
I got to say, both you and Christian did a fantastic job with your videos. Like,
thank you. I appreciate
the controller and Christian, aka Pulse, with Record Box. I actually watched that twice.
Yeah. His Record Box knowledge is just.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Insane. He could have done 5 hours of that video and still not covered everything.
Now let's pull back the curtain. Did you guys do that like you had mentioned earlier in the show? Did you do that like in December, or did you do that the day of type of thing when you went over the controller?
No, in order to make the show run smoothly, I think you'll find that all of the exhibitors had their show in the can. Like those videos, nobody did. The only thing that was done live at NAMM for me was happy hour.
You did a really good job to fill in an hour and a half.
Thank you. And it's funny because somebody had said, man, I can't believe you're live streaming. And they put ... Never mind, these are recorded. And I'm like, how do you know? Like, because I just saw I can scroll forward on the video. And that was on the first video on day one. So I'm like, okay, well, they've pulled the curtain back already and they've seen the great Oz. So, but it would be NAMM hosted the show. So the way it worked was you couldn't watch those pages if you weren't registered for NAMM.
Right.
So NAMM was taking all those feeds. I mean, can you imagine having, 50, 100 live feeds running simultaneously on a website? That would be just, I think, horrific because it'd be so many levels of mistake.
I would imagine they probably contracted in a server and someone to run it to do something like that. That's just incredible.
I've never, and I'm more and more seeing it done this way, where you present it as, here's all of our information, here's our schedule. And, NAMM is one of those live shows. NAMM's never been virtual. NAMM's never been recorded. Even at the NAMM show, if we did a seminar, we did it live. I never showed PowerPoint, that was more than a line or two, because I had a whole cross-section of people walking through the booth. I wasn't going to be like, hey, everyone sit down. There's nowhere to sit. Just, everyone just stand there. And, you want to give as much information as you can. I am as distracted as the next person at a show like NAMM. And it's difficult sometimes to keep that focus of, be here, do this, because there's so much stimulus in the air. I mean, Gene Simmons of KISS walks by, 10 seconds later, Stevie Wonder walks by, half an hour later, half of Guns N' Roses walks. Like, it's a constant, you're walking up an aisle to get lunch and Carlos Santana is talking to Dave Grohl and Ricky Rocket of Poison. And the three of them are huddled talking with security around them. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. You know? So I think a lot of people that aren't into it view the NAMM show as one of the harder shows to work because there's so much to set up. I mean, we're in a 60 by 40 booth.
Right.
It's a huge booth and there's a lot going on and there's a lot of moving parts. And there's a lot of things that have to be set up. But when you love what you do and you're in an environment that you love being in, like I said, I don't notice it. And Christian is, I'm going to figure it out one of these days, but we've stayed in the same hotel room for every NAMM we've ever worked, every Mobile Beat, every Expo. So you're looking at 17 NAMMs of staying 7 days in a hotel. So just the NAMM show accounts for what, 119 days, 109 days in a hotel. Then you add these other shows, and he's always in the same demeanor. He's always in the same, hey, this is fun, let's go. And if I'm not awake in time, he's like, get up, dude, take a shower, let's go. We're getting breakfast. That's right.
Yeah, he is very, even in person, I love the guy. He's just amazing.
He's always up. I mean, we've never had a terse word with each other. I'm not exaggerating that. I talked to him.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
We've stayed in hotel rooms well over 200, 250 days. Never once had a disagreement, never had a fight.
Yeah.
I think we've reached a level where if we left $1 million on the beds, neither one of us would think twice about it. It wouldn't be like, oh.
Right.
There's a lot that goes in your head when you're that comfortable. The show's going to be that much more fun because you're just, how do you not have a great time in something like that? I know it's supposed to be viewed as work, but it's not. There's a lot of pride. You're walking in early with your exhibitor badge. You're looking around. People aren't getting in. You're getting in, just prep up so they can come in and see what you have to show them. They're there to trust you and what you have to say as a credible source of information. It's a real joyous thing to do this.
It really is. I mean, I feel honored that John gave me this show to have people like you on.
I appreciate that. That's a great statement because
do that.
You just more than deserve this show. Your information, knowledge, experience. Now, did I misunderstand? I thought I saw somewhere today you're teaching a free how to program DMX for anyone that wants it all through 2021. Did I read that wrong?
Actually, it's
saw it on Reddit.
$99.95, your firstborn and your soul.
Okay. I knew I read that wrong because I thought, wow.
It's in
do it for 2 years.
It's in the small print.
And
that's where we get you.
Well, my manager, he'll probably call you later about the check for this, but I've been with him for like 5 years. They negotiated my contract with John for Tuesday nights. It's the guys from it's Izzy Itzkowitz from Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, and he means well, but sometimes the information he sends off is incorrect. He's like, Howie's giving away the store.
I know, but that's when I signed on. I just said, look, he said, how much do you want? I said, $1 more than Jay gets for Tuesday nights. So this
is why Izzy's been calling me.
Yeah.
He wants his 30%. He wants that 30 cents.
Well, Jay, it's been a pleasure having you on. I really hope to see you in person in August at
I
Expo.
hope so. And I hope everyone else is there. And if they are, we're going to have, I've already warned Pioneer DJ, if Expo goes, it'll be the first show that anyone has been to since DJ Expo 2019. So that's 2 years without a show. And I think it's going to be a blast.
It will be.
It is going to be one heck of a party, let me tell you.
All righty. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Howie. Appreciate it.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next Monday for Hanging Out with Howie. Good night, all.